What's poppin'? It's Mello back at you with another video. Today we're going to be going over layering your melodies. There are typically 3 reasons you would layer the melody. Let's get straight to it. Please put a like on the video. So let's listen to this composition I have very quickly. So this sounds pretty good to me, but let's say you want to add to it. Let's say you want to thicken it up and stuff like that. Well, of course, layering would be one of the ways you do that. So I'm going to take this whole melody right here, which is the top and counter melody. And I have this instrument right here. It's just a warm synth. We're going to plug that in. Let's listen to it real quick. So I'm also going to take the lower layers, paste them into this instrument. Now, being that the lower layers are so close on one instrument, I'm going to move it 1 octave down. We're going to take away one of those notes. We're going to take away the doubled layers. We'll even get rid of that. And let's listen to it. It has a different timbre than the strings. It's going to complement it. But another thing is I could have used a trumpet. I could have used a different set of strings, but I have a plan with what I'm going to do as far as this instrument. Now, the first thing, after you layer it and you hear it over it, you want to blend it in. So you want to turn the volume down and get it to where it sits good in the mix of everything that's going on. So let's take it away and listen to it coming in. All right, so it definitely added more depth and stuff like that. I used an effect rack to put some type of reverb echo effect on it. Let's listen to it. I gave it more space and it made it more ambient and stuff like that. But what I also want to do, I put an EQ shelf on it to cut out a lot of the lows and highs. So let's listen to it now. So we transformed it into something ambient, if you see. Now all that's left, let's go back, enable everything, and blend it in. Now you see it's real subtle. I'm gonna take it away and then bring it in so you can see the difference. Let's look at something else I often do, which is put either a piano, a deep pad, or a deep string on the bass notes and then turn them real low and EQ some of that out. So it definitely gives more depth to the composition, but let's lower it down. Let's lower it down and blend it in. And let's cut some of the lows out, because if you notice, even though it's deep notes, it still resonates in the upper mids and the lower mids and stuff like that. Even if we cut out the lows, it's still gonna have some low harmonic presence within the composition. Now let's listen to the whole difference one more time. Let's take away everything. Bring in the keys. That definitely thickened up the mix. And another thing as well, if the composition has a lot of warm sounds and things like that, you might want to do that same thing with brighter sounds. So now let's listen to this melody that we have here. So with this, we have a more complete melody than the last one, because we got 3 guitar instruments, which make a guitar line, and I got some effects on it. And that covers 3 to 4 octaves, you know, from C4 all the way to C7. But I also have a counter melody with this brass. So they sound good together and we have a complete beat. Second reason that you would consider layering the melodies is to highlight one of the melodies that are within the composition. You could also make it sound like a completely different sound as far as the melody. So instead of it sounding like one guitar, it sounds like a hybrid sound. The people can't quite put their finger on it. It's ambiguous, but it still sounds good. So that's what we're gonna be highlighting. That's what we're gonna be working with. I have flute stabs, and we're gonna layer it with some flute stabs. We will turn that down. Now the other instrument we have is a vintage piano. Notice I didn't hold everything out. I had to shorten everything so that it would make sense and not bleed over each other. I will turn that down. So it's felt, even though it's barely heard, it's felt. Just to add a little bit more boldness in that upper end, I got this synth. Very bright instrument. Now this is unlike the other ones, this holds. So I'm going to shorten every note a little bit more. I want it to be on the forefront, so I'm gonna turn that down a little bit lower than everything. Now I got all of them on the same mixer track. What you could do after you get all that, you could hit all the sounds that you layered together with some effects to make it more cohesive as one sound. So with that, I chose the Unison Sound Doctor and I used one of the lo-fi vocal presets. Let's listen without it and then bring it in so you can see the difference it makes. To make it more ambient and make it take up more space, I put the Valhalla Vintage Verb on it. We got something that sounds very good. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna blend it in through the mixer. We didn't even have to turn it down that much because I did a lot of blending in the first place, but this is without it. Let's bring it back. So you see, that's a good way to highlight one of the melodies. Now let's get to the third reason that you would do layering as far as melodies, and it would be to have actual layers in the beat to pull away during the chorus and to also highlight the chorus. So we're going back to the composition that I had earlier. I added a couple things. I added this melody right here, which is just a layer of one of the melodies that's already there, an octave up. Let's listen to it. Just in case your memory is foggy, here it is with the other one. So I added that, turned it down quite a bit. I also added this bell with the one shot from the Omega one shot kit, and I put a heavy reverb on it. Let's listen to it. And guess what? That mirrors this top melody that we started with. So right here, we have the beginning of the verse, and right here we have the hook. I'm gonna play just the instruments, then I'm gonna play it with some generic drums I just threw on it just to give you the feel and just to give you the example. So you get the point. When it's stripped away, it's like, okay, this is the verse. But when everything comes in, it's like, oh, this is the hook. So it's like, it gives you that extra oomph, and you can level all that stuff. You could turn that stuff down a lot more, and it's still gonna give you the presence. Now, let's listen to it over drums, and the drums don't have no B drops or nothing like that. This is all just for the example, just so you can hear, even with the drums, it still makes a difference. Good man. That's what happens when you take the limiter off. But yeah. Yeah. You get the point. You get the point. There is one other reason you would layer your melodies, and that is to make a counter melody. But I have a whole video on counter melodies, and I also have a whole section in that video about layering melodies. It's timestamped. Go check it out. But other than that, I'll see y'all another day. Somehow, some way, I'm out. And I discussed that in a video that you see right here, or wherever the hell I'm gonna put the shit, or wherever the hell. Okay, let's start that over.